3ds Max has a different technique that can be used to have an object travel along a path. It's called Path Deform. What makes it different than using the Path Constraint Controller is that whatever you have traveling down the path will actually deform like a soft piece of rubber as it moves along its track. What's important to know is that it's not a controller that makes that deformation happen. It's actually a special modifier. Let's take a look at how it works. This is a file named Deforming Text on Path. You can find it in the Working Files folder. Okay, the goal here will be to have our max text cruise along the path, traveling from one end of the yellow line to the other. As it does, we're going to see if we can't have the letters deform or change shape, in other words, as it does. Let's go ahead and select the text in the view. The modifier we'll use to pull this off is a path deform, specifically a world space path deform. World space simply meaning that our text letters will be affected by the scene's world coordinates and not instead by the object's local coordinates. You can always review Max's help system if you need a more thorough explanation of that. Let's head over to the modifier list and apply a world space path deform. Okay, down in the parameters section, we'll now click on Pick Path, then select the yellow line in our scene. Once that's been done, back in the Modify column, we'll also want to click on the Move to Path button. So the object better lines up with our path, directly below that in the Path Deform Axis category, we'll activate the X-axis. If we now change the percent value on the modifier, we can have the letters make their way down the path. As you can see, the text isn't just following the direction of the path, but also deforming as they go from one end of the line to the other. A noticeable difference than if using the Path Constraint Controller to drive the path animation. Let's now take our camera view full screen and see if we can't do some keyframing. We'll activate that window, then type Alt-W. Let's also hit the J command on the keyboard so we can hide our selection brackets. Why don't we now change the percent spinner so we can bring our text a little bit more toward the front. I'm going to take that value to somewhere around 70. Now, the letters are going to need to be flipped around so they point in the right direction as they go down the path. Back at the bottom of the controls in the Path Deform Axis category, activate the Flip option. If we now change the percent spinner again, you'll see the difference that's made. We'll also have a rotation control that we'll be adjusting. Go ahead and experiment with that, then undo. Okay, let's begin by taking our text just off the screen on the upper right-hand side. To get it into position, we'll change our percent value to right around -20. Why don't we also begin our text with a rotation value of -300? You can go ahead and type that in, then press Enter. Now that'll come into play a little bit later on in our animation. Okay, having our time slider located at frame 0, let's activate Auto Key. You can hit the button below the timeline or simply type N on your keyboard. Let's now move to frame 200 and we'll change the percent spinner on the text so it flies off the left-hand side of the screen. That'll take the value to somewhere around 117. Once we've done that, let's scrub the timeline and see the results. Why don't we also throw a little spin into the mix? I'll go to frame 125 and change the rotate value to 115. That'll get the text standing up and facing forward as it nears the front part of our view. Let's play things back from the beginning and we'll see how it looks. We can do that by hitting the Home key, then the /. Let's also add a little twisting effect into the text. We'll take our time slider to frame 200 and we'll change the twist amount to 720. Once you've entered the value, go ahead and play things again. Now, even though we won't be using it here, we could also make the letters stretch at any point along the path. Back on the right-hand side, we'd simply adjust the stretch value. Now, I won't be committing to that by right-clicking while the left mouse is still on the spinner. Let's go ahead and play things back again so we can verify our timing. Now, our letters might be going just a tad fast. Let's see if we can't slow that down just a bit. We'll stop our playback, then head to the right-hand corner of the interface for the time configuration settings. We can either click directly on the icon or right-click on any of our playback arrows. In the dialog, about 3/4 of the way down on the left-hand side, in the animation section, we'll now click on Rescale Time. Halfway down in the New category, let's now take our end time from 200 to 250. This will add an additional 50 frames to our animation, scaling our keyframes accordingly. And once we have that number in, we can go ahead and click OK. Let's now go ahead and play our timeline again, and we'll see what change that's made. Having the text traverse across the screen just a little bit slower gives us an extra moment or two to pick up what it says. Now, if we rendered this out, we'd have something that looked like this. You can find the animation over in the Working Files folder for this chapter if you'd like to take a look. It's called Path Deform. So there you go with the Path Deform modifier. A terrific tool, especially when doing logo-type animation. Certainly though something that can be used in a wider variety of applications. So tuck it into your toolbox and make sure to use it when the right situation calls. I'm going to go ahead and save this out as Deforming Text on Path Completed if you'd like to go in for a look.